and how people use it at the time. A matter of fact, since we're on that, this is from the prologue of the book of Sirach, which is also known as Ecclesiasticus. It says, "Wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, when we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself, and the prophets, and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language." Alright, that's why we have this here now. It says the major result of the literary work of the Hebrew intellectuals along the 19th century was a lexical modernization of Hebrew. New words and expressions were adapted as neologism. From the large corpus of Hebrew writings since the Hebrew Bible, or borrowed from Arabic, mainly by Eliezer ben Yehuda, which is where we get the Yehudi from, and Aramaic, many new words were either borrowed from or coined after European languages, especially English, Russian, German, and French, which some of these areas had a lot of them Khazars in there. Modern Hebrew became an official language in British-ruled Palestine in 1921. So this Hebrew that you're speaking today is not Hebrew. It's not the Lashon Kodash. It's nothing but a amalgamation or a bunch of stuff that was compiled together by beginning with this guy Ben Yehudi, which was one of the forefathers of Zionism. All right. It says along with English and Arabic, and then in 1948 became an official language of the newly declared state of Israel. Hebrew is the most widely spoken language in Israel today. So that's not the Hebrew language. All right, that is not the Hebrew language. And you know, I think we pretty much made the point. But matter of fact, I'm just going to read this. This is another my website here. This is dealing with Jerome, right? It says, "It's no wonder Saint Jerome 340-420, who published the Latin Vulgate version of the Bible, admitted," this is what he admitted, "when we translate the Hebrew into Latin, we are sometimes guided by conjecture. Furthermore, John Leclerc, 1657-1736, a Swiss Protestant theologian and scholar, even went so far as to maintain that the learned merely guess at the sense of the Old Testament in an infamy of places." This is documented history here. This is in large part because of the ancient Hebrews' failure to write down their vowels and of the language subsequently falling into disuse, and the adding of the relatively modern vowel points by a few belated Dark Age rabbis in order to make up for this deficit naturally casts very great suspicion and doubts on how the Hebrew vowels were originally sounded and used. It says, verifying the recent appearance of these vowel points, the renowned J. Patterson Smith, that's talking about them little dots and dashes that you see in the Blue Letter Bible and the Masoretic text of the Hebrew. Verifying the recent appearance of the vowel points, the renowned J. Patterson Smith, B.D., LL.D., Lit. D., and author of several books on the Bible, maintained that their marks are of comparatively modern date, certainly not older than about 500 or 600 AD, and he added, "We can imagine then what a sensation was produced when Elias Levita, a very famous Hebrew scholar about the year 1540, proved to the world that these vowel marks were not in existence for hundreds of years after the time of our Lord. Of course, this caused some controversy at the time, but Dr. Smith concluded that no scholar now thinks of doubting the comparatively recent origin of the Hebrew vowel points. Nobody today knows for sure how the original Hebrew was pronounced, regardless of the tales commonly propagated about the Jewish rabbis carrying on an accurate oral tradition for thousands of years. This is something that they've been pushing so much that the people just accepted it because it's part of the doctrine that they teach you in these schools. Our knowledge of the evolution of languages would almost certainly deny the likely possibility of such. If old King Solomon were to walk through Jerusalem today and hear the Hebrew spoken there now, he would probably stop in astonishment, listen in amazement, shake his head in bewilderment, and finally conclude that he must be in a foreign, I guess it would say land, which I didn't catch the rest of it, but you brothers can go to that website and get the rest of it. If King Solomon was alive today, he'd be killing them motherfucking so-called Jews, man. All right. So that's the point on that. Now this is the reason why the Most High said this. Now we're at the time of the end now. We're at the time when the Lord is raising Israel back up. That's why it is written of Elijah that he would come, and this is Malachi the 4th chapter and the 5th verse. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, which hasn't happened yet, the dreadful day of the Lord. But the prophecy of Elijah already happened. And for those of you who can accept it, that was Abba Bivens. And Abba Bivens was the one that started teaching Israel